So welcome back to TNTV, where this week it's the final video in our 4-part series, Love, Sex and Intimacy. It is the mystery video, just like the mystery house on Escape to the Country. This is the mystery one, probably the most important one, and we call it the Sustainable Us. And you're here today, as always, with myself, Tony V, and the amazing, beautiful and gorgeous Nikki V, often known as the relationship couple, but on the odd occasion we've been referred to as sexperts. So
yes, we quite like that actually. So yes, hello and welcome back. And as Tony says, make sure that you've watched the first 1, 2 and 3, the love, sex and intimacy videos, because otherwise this won't make any sense. And it would be like, as he always says, it's like having a Christmas dinner, having the stuffing and the white sauce but not having the turkey. So switch off now. And, come back to us when you've watched the first 3. And for those of you who have watched the first 3, remember what those first 3 were about. Number 1 was all about love, and it was about, what does love really mean? It's about giving, not getting. And even more importantly sometimes, it's about taking responsibility for your own self, for your own happiness, not looking for the other person to give you all the time and, something that makes you happy. The next one was about sex. Now, we've been, as Tony said, we've been called sexperts by the Sun newspaper, so that was quite a bit of a bigger ploy for us. But, the thing is, the sad thing about reality of what's happening nowadays is that sex has become like a physical athletics thing. It's like, it's about a release of tension. And it's not, it's not about what intimacy, which is what in the 3rd video, what intimacy is all about, which is putting 2 people together in a space of love already, and that actually then they have the most beautiful making love experience. So, what is creating a sustainable relationship? What is creating a sustainable us all about?
Yeah, well, I think the first thing it's definitely not is one of the biggest statistics that is used today that describes relationship success is the sort of marriage statistics of the people that survive. In other words, how long have we been together? But trust me, I know, and we have had experience with this for well over a decade now, of relationships that fall apart. And there are many, many, many people right now, could even be yourself, that feel trapped in a relationship. It's not what it started out to be, and they feel like they're imprisoned by the very thing that was supposed to be the most amazing thing in their life. Now, it's a joy to know that if you're not one of those, you don't really need to watch this video. But look, hey, maybe you could even turn the dial up, as we call it, so that there were even more magic and miracles happening in your relationship. But yes, millions and millions of people out there right now trapped in an unhealthy or unhappy relationship. But in some respects, around comes the old anniversary of the getting together or the getting married, and everybody sort of celebrates in a sort of a dull way. The champagne comes out potentially, and yet it's not really got the substance or the magic, as I always say, that perhaps it was created when you first got together. So creating the sustainable us is a sort of conceptual model that if you were to understand love, sex and intimacy and then put this as like the icing on the cake, you'll go, okay, this model, we're going to draw it on the board, is just so powerful that it will, I promise you, sustain your relationship in a happy, loving way, the way that we all desire to live.
And if you're thinking, well, hold on a minute, Tony and Nikki, you've only been together 11 years. Well, we've worked with hundreds, maybe even thousands of people now, both but when they were single, getting into a relationship, but like you, they're in a relationship. And we've noticed that without this, and I know this sounds dramatic, but without this, the relationship definitely is in danger of not working and being very painful. It's definitely, even if it's going okay, is likely to start feeling neutral and like friends, or at worst, where somebody said, one of the couples said to us, we're like friends who live together and argue, it's like, we just share a house basically. And what this will do is it will cause the relationship to thrive. And we were at a party on last Saturday night, and somebody asked the host of the party, have that couple, they didn't know what we did even for a living or anything like that. They just have that couple just got together, have they just got married? And she said, oh no, they've been together 11 years. And this person said, well, they seem to be just, it's like that level of connection. They seem to be, well, we always call it like, we know we're connected. We're like, I'm in Tony's radar. He might be with a group of men and he's talking to them, but he knows he's taking care of me. And we did notice, when we notice other couples, we notice that they don't have that. They're like two separate individuals having an experience who are together in a relationship, but they're not connected. So obviously you can see that we're pretty kind of sure and certain about this. We're certain that if you get this and you understand it, and it's something we could talk about for days or even weeks or even months. But we're just going to give you right now today the bare bones of it, the bottom line of it, right? So that you can use that today in your relationship. It doesn't matter whether you're a guy sitting on your own or a girl sitting on your own, or whether you're a couple sitting. You could start this today.
Yeah. Now, look, in our teachings we have two what we call fundamentals or foundational parts of our teachings, and that is the red and the green and the pink and the blue. Yes. Now, the red and the green is the absolute foundation, and I have to say the conceptual model we're going to share with you now, you almost definitely won't be able to take on board. Understand, you may totally disagree with it unless you've understood foundation number one, which is that we need to live in a green space. Now, if you go back through some of our videos, you don't know what we're talking about the red and the green, go back through some of our weekly video blogs and you'll find lots and lots of stuff that relates and refers to the red and the green. Because if you don't understand that, this could seem like, oh my God, I don't know what they're talking about, or it makes no sense, or you're simply could disagree with it, when actually it's a fundamental in itself. So, first thing is that this concept only works if you, as an individual, have learned to live in a more what we call a green space, which is in control of your own emotionality, you're solid in yourself, you're not, you're dependable is a great word to use, you thrive by being connected. I will say we've got our switched on to the universe, which is a bit out there, but actually, if that makes no sense to you, it's really important that you go back and do a bit of homework.
Yeah, and it might be something to think about right now. So I'm just going to ask you the question, if you went inside right now, or went inside, what are you thinking about? What's your energy? Are you in a situation where you're sitting there and you're going, I need to, find out, by watching this video with Tony and Nikki, whether I should stay or should I go out of this relationship, because I'm really, I spoke to a woman yesterday who's just like, they're just breaking up, and she's like wound up tight, and it's all about he's doing this and he's doing that, and then we met a guy over the weekend, he's going like, my woman's never around, and it's like we're separate and all that sort of thing. Go inside right now and go like, first of all, what's the emotion that's going on inside of me? And what am I thinking? Well, am I going to watch this so I can think about how I can tell him or tell her how it's supposed to be? Or am I going to watch this from a space that says, look, it takes two to tango. We have created the level of disconnection that we've got right now, whatever that level is, whether it's breaking up, energy, or whether it's just arguing occasionally, right? We have both created that. I need to let go of blame, which we've talked about many, many times, and be in a loving space. My partner and I are just doing the best they can. You and your partner are just doing the best you can with the resources you have right now. So to absolutely let go of the past and go, let me watch this from a space of, what can I learn today? What can I understand today? What can I use today in order for me to have more connection, even if that's just a little bit, with my partner. So I just urge you to, that's what we talk about when we talk about the red and the green.
Yeah, indeed. So this is much more about the pink and the blue and how we utilise, for the guys, our male and masculine energy, and for the girls, how they utilise their more feminine energy. Now, we have to remember before we start that each of us has got both masculine and feminine energy, and it's the balance of those within ourselves that partly gives us, or massively gives us, a relationship with the opposite sex. Yes. So if these things are out of balance for you as an individual, what the universe does, and believe in the universe if you choose, is it sends us like a mirror opposite to ourselves. And if that mirror's keeps cracking, breaking, being a bit of a challenge, it's because you're not in balance. So this is why we call this part, the most important part. It's really a very advanced part. So you need to have these foundational things in place for this to actually work. But anyway, it's all about the dance of the energy. So I don't know, many people out there in today's world have really, do dancing. You do salsa and other dance clubs. Now you'll know quite clearly, if you've ever done salsa, that actually is literally a dance between the masculine and the feminine energy. And for it to be good, for you to feel good while you're dancing the dance, for it to look good for the people on the sidelines, the man has to operate in his male energy and the woman has to operate in her feminine energy. Now, this dance between the male and feminine energies has definitely gone to cock, is a good word. I can't think of another word.
Extreme, but it's a good way of putting
But
it.
in modern, 21st century life, as you walk around the streets and you become more and more aware of this, you'll notice that two things really, I guess, have created it. Two words really. One word would be equality, and the other word would be feminism, yeah? Now, these two words have unfortunately taken humanity off on a bit of a journey to the side. I don't make it right or wrong, it just is what it is. We've taken that path. But I think the end result is the dance between the masculine and feminine energy is affected by these two words massively. Now look, we are not anti-anything. We don't do anti. We're certainly not anti-feminists in any way, shape or form. In fact, we're very pro-feminine. In other words, for a woman to live in her core energy and experience her feminine self, she has the possibility and the ability to experience the best of a masculine man, because that's what creates this sort of us. And if we don't have that experience, so in other words, if a woman is utilising more of her male energy and the man starts to utilise more of his feminine energy, which is what we see en masse, I can't tell you how almost every relationship, isn't it? Yeah. Almost every relationship that comes our way that has got a problem has got these two things, this dance of the male-female energy completely out of balance.
Yeah, and the sad thing is that, if they've got, even if it's not extreme, which to be fair, most of them are really extreme, and that's come from, as Tony says, from years of us taking that sort of route that was trying so hard to get, quite rightly, equal rights and all those sorts of things. But it took us to this place where even if it's not that extreme, it's like in an equality place, an equal place. Well, of course, with that, there is no polarity. Now, this video series is about love, sex, and intimacy. It's really about having that us, where lovemaking and connection is there, not just in the bedroom, but in, day out, which is what sustains a relationship. So, as you can see, we're pretty certain about this.
Yeah, we are certain.
We've seen it so many times. And it really is about, and if you're going, yeah, okay. Look, I had like 40 years almost of living in a more masculine way. My dad, bless him, just taught me that was the way you needed to be in the world. So it's nobody's fault, it's just the way I was. Tony, was very masculine in his work life, or he recognises now he could have been even more masculine in his work life. But what happened was that, at home with his wife or the women he had relationships with, he was not in that strong masculine space. Now, every woman I've ever spoken to, every woman, without doubt, all goes, if only men would just be stronger, if only they would just take charge of things. And every man that we've ever talked to was, if only she'd stopped taking charge, if only she'd stopped taking the lead. And of course, there's some women who don't do it from a very masculine way, which is how I used to do it. They do it from a passive-aggressive way, which in some ways is even harder for men to deal with. So, it's nobody's fault. We just want to make that point. And the great thing that people say about us is we are a man and a woman. We're a working model of our beliefs and our strategies. And so, yes, it really is about really understanding that I think that's so brilliant the way you've just put it, the dance between the two, because when they dance together and the man leads and the man does all the different things that we're going to talk to you right now about and give you those words, the woman lets go, and more words that we're going to say, then that it works beautifully. And we have a client at the moment, she goes to salsa, and she's been working on coming out of this tight, kind of tense kind of energy that she used to be in, and to now be more in her feminine. And what she noticed at the last lesson that she went to was some of the guys, you know, weren't really leading her, so she was finding that she didn't feel safe with them. And then this one guy, he's leading beautifully, and he's really, you know, owning her, and, you know, it was just beautiful the way she described it. She said, I felt completely safe, and I just let go and everything. And he actually lifted her up and carried her. And of course, she said, that's the best experience I've ever had, as an example of what it feels like. So, yeah.
Indeed. She used the word, because I asked her, so if you have to describe the feeling that went on in your body when he picked you up and swung you around, what word would you use? And she used the word free. You know, it felt like freedom.
Yes.
And that for me is primarily because she entered in that moment. She just allowed her feminine essence to relax and be the true her, the real her, whatever words you want to use to describe it, rather than, you know, the model that's been pumped into us, you know, through some of these words, you know.
And what would it have felt like for the guy? For her to have let go to him?
Absolutely fantastic. You know, it's exactly what a man wants, a woman that will, you know, let go to him. And she would have, well, look, it's the connection. They would have both felt that connection, because it's amazing. Like it is the dance of the enemies, the energies that interlock, that makes you both feel phenomenal and fantastic.
Whereas it's normally the dance of the enemies.
Yeah, dance of the enemies. Yeah, slipper. But
it's a great way of describing it. We're normally like we're butting up against each other, you know, and somebody wins, right?
And both people lose. I always say both people lose, you know.
That's such a way. Whereas when our energies come together, and I know that sounds out there, and I know that sounds a bit airy-fairy, but when our energies come together, it's like we are one person.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, you know, I know that's, again, you know, but it's like, that's how it feels,
But it's important to know.
People say we look alike. It's like, you know, it's because we feel like one person. Yeah. Imagine what that would feel like in your relationship.
Yeah, it is a bit another out there, more esoteric argument, but it argues that our spirit part of us, because remember we're made up of mind, body and spirit, the spirit part of us is actually androgynous, and it doesn't have a male-female experience, and that actually it's argued from, as I say, a very out there view, that we come and our spirit comes and takes embodiment in a physical form here, because it wants to experience the separation of the male-female energies and then the bringing back together again. So that's another story. But anyway, it is quite a fun way to look at it. It's a fun way to look at it. So let's just draw this conceptual model for you. So remember, you've got to be in the green first. You've got to be completely open. That if your relationship's not actually working, that this could be like the most fundamental thing that you've ever seen in your life. Now, we have taught this to a lot of people, both at our events. We've had them drawing it on the floor and working together, and it has caused massive disconnection. Because
why do you do it then?
Because people's mind part of them has never looked at it this way before. And so what you find your ego does is your ego likes to, or this part of you that's trying to protect you, it likes things that it already agrees with and it already believes in. So if you come across something you don't believe in, then you tend to just like, oh, okay, I don't like that idea. I know that when I first came across something similar to this, my ego went, I just need to leave the room right now, because I don't want to look at that. That looks too difficult, too hard. It's everything I don't want to do. There's a part of me that's... Anyway, I just know that there's a sort of a breakthrough point, you know, where I broke through and then I started to embrace this model, this concept, which, you know, is not ours. It's, you know, the model we created, I guess. But look, this is a philosophy which really, if you can break through disagreeing with it and go, okay, so what would need to happen for us as a couple to experience this? What would it be like? And you get excited about creating something that's got that longevity and that connection, then this will be it. So if you find it a bit difficult or you're finding you're disagreeing with it, that's all good.
Yeah, because also you might be thinking, well, hold on a minute, it's supposed to be a 10-minute video and this has gone on for God knows how long now, right? We don't have time. We don't have a time thing. But I want to ask you a question. What what the hell is going to happen if you don't find some way of getting reconnected or connected more than you are now? What is going to happen? Think of the implications and the consequences and the ramifications and the pain of what's going to happen in the future. And one of the things, obviously we've been coaching for like eons now, right? And one of the things that we notice is that people think that if they don't do anything, it's going to stay the same. I've got to be honest with you. It's not been my observation. My observation is if you don't find a way to, to do something about this, to find a shift, even whether that's inside of yourself or learning something here, whatever needs to happen now, if you don't find that, my observation is it's likely to get worse. And think of the ramifications if your relationship starts to deteriorate more than it's deteriorated already. Think of the ramifications on the children if you've got them. Think of the financial implications. Think of just the emotional pain that you're going to go through. So many people can't function at work when they've got this kind of thing going on. That may be you. So that's why, you're probably going, oh, God, they're intense, that couple. It's like we've used the word sad twice today.
Yeah,
we're so saddened to make videos. We have the people come back to us and they use the emergency support and they use they don't find a way to get themselves in a space where they not only have less disconnection, they have massively more connection. And that's why, we're not talking about just having an average relationship here. We're talking about the ultimate intimate relationship where intimacy is there all day long and all evening.
Indeed.
And all night, I mean.
Let me get my pen out because I know you're going, are you ever going to draw this diagram?
Ever going to draw this diagram?
So this is actually one of the most simple diagrams we've ever...
But it's great to... Sorry, I've interrupted you there. It's great to have a visual to remember,
Absolutely,
isn't it?
yeah. So for most relationships that are in any way disconnected, it normally means that energetically the male or man is over here and the female or the feminine is over here. And these, as you can see, are what we just call disconnected. They're operating individually. This is doing what it's doing, this is doing what it's doing. There is no right and wrong, but the result is disconnection, separate worlds, yeah? So the art of creating the ultimate intimate relationship is to create this diagram where the male energy basically looks after, takes care of, and
it's almost like it holds.
It surrounds it. But you've got to remember, please you mustn't forget that this can only work if this area here, and I don't have a green pen, if this is green. In other words, this is created by this living in a more red world and this living in a more red world. So first of all, this has to take responsibility for itself, and so does this, and start to live a more green way of living. And once you achieve that, this then becomes possible. This is not possible if indeed you're doing that. So it's why if this is a step and stages thing. People say to us, how long did it take you to get to learn to live this? And the truth is more than a year. This is something that takes time because it's so different to living like this. Yeah. So every other relationship I've ever lived in, I've lived like this. And it took me 47 years to start to learn this, to start to just go, okay, there's something better than what I'm doing here that seemingly is giving me a lot of pain, a lot of strife and trouble and disconnection with the females that I've been in relationships with. So this diagram is to be filled in by both of you. So in other words, we as individuals in a green state have I don't really like the word roles. I mean, I like Rolls Royce, but bread rolls.
It's better than jobs. To have a role in the relationship, I think, is a kind of healthier word.
Well, I think
it's the best word we can think of.
Yeah. So
than a job?
Yeah.
Because sometimes that can be, because what we would urge you to do, even if you're on there on your own, is to think about what role you take, what parts of your world you want to take responsibility for, you want to be in the us.
So what is the masculine or the male energies role here? How could you describe that? Well, if you watched our masculine and feminine tables the other week, we could use those words, because the male's role here, or the energy that it needs to bring to the relationship to get this massive us. So remember, we're calling this an us. This is creating a sustainable us. You can see how this is separate, this is together. Yeah. So the male energy needs to bring some great words. Firstly, we say that it needs to be, well, I'd say firstly, it's one of the words. It needs to be the leader. It needs to be, so that the feminine energy, because if you think of the basis of feminine energy is vulnerability, the basis of male energy is certainty, really. So the male, if the male's certain, the female can feel vulnerable. That's how the energies dance. Certainty can meet the need of vulnerability. Whereas if a man is not certain, so one word we could definitely put here is he needs to be certain, but I'll put in brackets, in himself.
Yes.
This is the most important way to look at it. Now, if a man is certain in himself, then the woman's got the ability to be vulnerable. So let's put the word vulnerable in here.
Yeah, and the other words that I would start to put in here is that if we do allowing is a lovely feminine word. If we allow a man to lead us, it's a fabulous feeling. Now, before you say, yeah, but what happens if he's not trustworthy and thing? Because the other word that needs to go in here is trusting. We need to trust him to lead, not just in the, well, here's the big thing that women do. They go, I'll trust him to lead, but he has to do it my way. Okay? No, he needs to be certain in himself, and he needs to lead in the way that feels comfortable for him. So for guys that are watching, this is for you to determine what leading looks like. And that's why we keep saying it, and I know it's over and over again, we keep saying this is coming from a green space, a loving space. So we have a connection with each other where we go, this is the leader in this relationship.
It's also, one of the other words we use is owning.
Yes, and I used that earlier on, and I can't tell you, we were saying about what it felt like for the man when he lifted the woman up and she felt free and he felt amazing. For a woman to be owned, it's like, you're not owning me so you can manipulate me or you can use me in any way. Tony owns me because he's owning my vulnerability, my emotionality, because women are, emotional roller coaster. But also the one thing it's like he's owning the problems in life. Because so many women talk about, well, I have to do everything. Well, hold on a minute, I'm going to be a bit tough with you girls here. Is that you've taken that role and you often haven't left the space, as we call the gap, for the man to take the lead. Because maybe he's a slightly more steady pace than you are, which is the same in our relationship. In which case, really, just trusting him and leaving that gap and just allowing him to own the problem. This is what an us is made of.
Yeah, and one of the words that, if you ask women, what do you want out of a man? Or if you say to them, name the top 10, men that, you're attracted to. Mate, we always tend to use famous men. People come to the top of that. Is your diehard man? Bruce Willis. Look,
he comes at the top, and he's 60 or something.
Yeah. And one of the reasons that he comes to the top is because he displays a sort of powerful.
Yeah,
he's powerful. But he's powerful. Again, this is
you don't get the Brad Pitts and the Jude Laws.
No,
you don't. When they're lovely, they're beautiful. They're they're kind of sexy maybe. Even.
Yeah.
But they're not powerful and strong. So you get George Clooney. You get, funny enough, the old James Bond guy.
Oh,
he's like 80 or something.
Sean
Connery. And Bruce Willis and people like that. Oh, the Daniel Craig comes out top, because it's like they're powerful men.
Yes.
You can't mess with them. The main reason why, we've been together, not just in a relationship for 11 years, but in great relationship for 11 years, is because I can't mess with this man. I can't dominate him in any way, shape or form. I can't tell him what to do. But, I trust him because he takes care of me in a really loving way. So, it's just, it's just that, as Tony says, that dance. I can't
Yeah,
think
I
of
think
any
some of
better
these
way.
words, you have to think of these words. Well, first, we must keep going on about in a green way, because,
Yes.
you know, you can be a leader in a red way, which
Oh, yeah.
is, you know,
You
crazy.
can tell a woman what to
Yeah,
do, and it's
you
not
can be
good.
powerful in a red way, but you see, if you're
Yeah.
powerful in a green way, powerful in a leader in a green way, these then become like your energies.
Yes.
So you're utilizing your more natural energy, which connects you like a magnet to this other person. When you do it in the red, you know, when you get those magnets, or if you did it at school, I don't know if they do it at school, I obviously went to school a long time ago, but you used to get those horseshoe magnets, and you put them together, and if the polarity was right, they were like stuck together.
Yeah, you
and
couldn't
sometimes
get
they
them
were quite hard to pull apart. Yeah, well, that's like what our relationships like. That's very hard to pull apart, because polarity wise, we've got the masculine and the feminine, or the positive and the negative. It's like it's pulling towards each other. And when you turn the magnets around the other way, they like actually repel each other. Yeah, so that's what happens in this red world, is that this red energy repels this pink energy, and the pink energy repels the blue energy, if indeed you're in the red. And along with this becomes a lot of discontent, a lot of unhealthy behaviour, and all of the relationship problems live here. That's why I can pretty much say that every relationship we've ever helped people with, this is where they live. This is where they live. They've never managed to create this. And trust me, you can live here for a long time. In my first relationship, I got very near to having my 20th wedding anniversary. Very, very near. But, you know, we were never connected. So we never experienced this magic of the us, because our energies didn't dance. They were always repelling each other. And it was always painful and difficult and hard. And our kids, you know, my 3 boys grew up watching this crap go on. And then, of course, they inherit that, because they think that that's normal. When actually, this is normal. This is abnormal. But this is the journey of humankind, to realise that they're doing this and looking for logical solutions to it, when actually the solution is an energetic one, not a logical one. So you have to apply these words from an energetic green viewpoint, not from a logical sense, because if you put a logical taint on them, you're just going to repel the opposite sex.
It always makes me think about when couples come to us and they realise, and they have a realisation that this is going on, right? And there's this repelling going on, and this arguing and this disconnection going on. And often, if they've got children, they'll say, we'll say, if you can't do it for you, do it for your children. You and they go, well, how do we, tell our children? They will say the same thing. I don't know why. They're saying, how can we tell our children about this? We go, no, don't even think about telling them. Show them.
Be it.
Because it's never too late. Today could be the first day, for the rest of your life, of course it is, that you are living here. You could do that in a nanosecond. And you can be showing your children just by being in a loving, giving space, let go of all the shit in the past, and go, right, in this moment, if you're a woman, how can I be more allowing? How can I be more trusting? And the other word that I want to put in here is, how can I be more letting go of control? Again, I spoke to this, girl yesterday, or she's a woman yesterday, and she and her partner are splitting up. And, we talked about her behaviour in it, and she really kind of got it, and she got how she, created that for herself, and how they co-created this level of disconnection. And then she said, well, but what do I do now? He. And I went, what do you know? What do you know? You've been with us a long time. What do you know? She said, I need to let go. She said, I need to let go. I need to let go of everything. I need to let go. She kept saying the words over and over again. She said, I know that's all I need to do, is I need to let go. And whether that means letting go of the past, or whether that means letting go of what you want it to look like, or what you determined for it to look like, you just let go and you trust. And the word that I love to think about is that we've had also a lot of guys who've come to us who are, for another video, I'll explain to you how when you're in the red up here, what happens is you're likely to take on a more feminine role if you're a man, or a more masculine role if you're a woman, right? So we'll talk about that in another video. But what the guys go is they go, oh, but this means everything to me. I must be in this relationship. I adore this woman. I can't function without her. And we go, but that's the problem. because you need to have a purpose of your own, and that's why the purposeful,
purposeful
word
is a word that
is
needs
one
to
of
go
the
in here.
blue words, one of the male words, one of the masculine words that I love. Because one of the things about Tony is that Tony has his purpose. Now that might be an airy-fairy word, but he's got, or if you wanted to call it a career or a job or a business, he has got a reason to get up in the morning and to, live his life as a masculine man. And that I'm in his radar, as we call it, but I'm not, and I'm part of it, as you can see, because, when we do things together as well. But he is purposeful, which means that I can let go of trying to make everything happen, which is such a, sad thing that women are doing nowadays, is they take responsibility. I have to make everything happen myself. And that's happened, and it's nobody's fault. It's just happened over the years. So those are two other words. I mean, this is all there is.
Indeed,
to make an us.
So I just think we should perhaps draw to the close before we make the longest ever 10-minute video. Well, if you have hung in to the end, I trust that this has been something that's a revelation to you, because if you can really start to take this on board and then start to integrate it, and look, we're here to help you. That's what we do for a living. So if your relationship's feeling like this, just look on the menu bar. There's stuff there to support you, help you. There's buttons underneath. Just start pressing buttons. That's what we do. We're here to help you in any way we can. But we will be sharing with you stuff like this and supporting you whilst, as a guy, you step into this role. Because this is the secret, really. Ultimately, if we can teach the guys to step into this role and the girls to step into this role, I remember one couple we taught this to, and they came to us and said, I think for the first time ever in 25 years together, we've experienced love. We really experienced love. Because love lives here. Love does not live here. An intellectual love lives here. The actual experience of love and intimacy at the highest level lives here. So if we can teach you anything, this is what we would be teaching you. So from me, Tony V, and from the amazing and beautiful Nikki V, we'll see you in another video, another day, and trust that, go through the old videos that are there. There's loads of them there. If you're struggling in any way, if not, press your buttons now, and we'll be there like a shot to help you. So until the next time we meet, we'll see you then.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now.